Yes, this is clickbait. Fuck you. Things that I don't do as an astrologer is answering questions such as, when will I meet my spouse? Are we meant to be? Where will we meet? Is my ex gonna come back? I kindly ignore and deny. And it's not because I don't understand, because I do understand. But it's because I support the philosophy that everything starts within. I do not wish to feed this need for control. I wish to feed consciousness and awareness. Before we get into astrology or consult an astrologer, it is important to question ourselves. What is the motive behind all of this? Anytime when I see questions like this pop by, such as, when will we marry? It just screams desperation, and I do not wish to feed such. The bigger question is, what does this reflect from you? This is why I ask you, dare to question yourself. Why? Why do you have these questions on your mind? When we look to external factors in our life for validation, for stability, for happiness, then what does that mean? It simply means that you fail to put in the effort to create such for yourself. Because again, the philosophy, everything starts within. If you're looking at life and seeking for external people, situations, possessions, and whatever to fulfill yourself, you're doing it wrong. I think it's important that we realize that astrology is still occultism. Astrology is knowledge, and knowledge is power. Therefore, in the wrong hands, it can be used negatively. To use astrology, to be a practitioner of astrology, it requires awareness, it requires respect. It requires the realization that when you read a chart, you're in essence dealing with someone's vulnerability and their soul. Astrology is ruled by Aquarius, but it's still an 8th house thing. If you understand the 8th house, then you will quickly realize that 8th house shit is not meant to benefit. And by that I mean to gain money. The reason for mentioning this is that I do fear when Pluto goes into Aquarius, because one of the things that can come out from this is the rise of fake astrologers or people using occult knowledge to gain, to have power, or they simply see money. So if astrology is an 8th house matter, opposing to the 8th house is a 2nd house where all things tangible reside. But the 8th house is intangible shit, motherfucker. The higher vibration of the 8th house is not money. The higher vibration is to transform and to transcend the material plane. The 8th house is all about transformation, death, and rebirth. It is how we shed our decay, how we walk the dark parts within us. I like to compare or see astrology or being an astrologer as a psychiatrist or therapy. The only difference is that with a therapist or a psychiatrist, it takes months worth of therapy for the issues to surface. Whilst with astrology, we deal with one chart, which is the birth chart, but that is the visual display of someone's inner dynamic and psychology. So in conclusion, astrology is not some sort of board game. It is not some sort of funny tool. And one who claims themselves an astrologer after only 1 year of study is bullshit. The truth about astrology is that this is a lifetime devotion. It is a lifetime study, and you can never graduate from it. If you think to become an astrologer, then do it for the right reasons. Do it for the reasons to help humanity, to help raise consciousness and awareness, to motivate people to see beauty in the darkness. Another concern with astrology is that you never truly know to what extent the client's consciousness is able to absorb certain truths about themselves. The thing with astrology, at least in my practice, is that it can be very confrontational. So in essence, the client has to be self-aware. They have to be conscious and willing to make constructive changes wherever needed. Astrology is not some sort of shortcut through life. It is to better understand ourselves and our personal challenges as a result of our inner dynamic. When I look to astrology from the perspective of the internet, it is fucking satisfied. It is satisfied with basic. There is an overload of shitty quality information. There is also an overload of how to find this, how to find that. Astrology is widely displayed as that specific thing where you can figure out your spouse or figure out where the money will come from. But if I may be so honest, this is rather low vibrational practice of astrology. The message that I'm trying to display here is that you do you. I don't fucking care what you do with the information, just use it consciously, and please question your own motives. If you use astrology to gain control over someone or a specific situation, Get your shit together. I'm not sitting here and brag that I know everything, because I don't know everything. The thing with astrology is that it requires lots of study, lots of experience, personal experience, because the funny thing about basic astrology, which is put out there on the internet, for example, Jupiter is often seen as the planet of expansion, luck, optimism, and just gains in general. But the funny thing is, Jupiter means knowledge, wisdom, insight, mastery. And if you have decent understanding of what it is to be a human being and to be alive, then you also know that knowledge, wisdom, and mastery can only come when we overcome, when we see the dark shit. So that means transits of Jupiter, as like how they're often displayed as nice, they also bring confrontation with ourselves, because we will only gain deep understanding when we see the dark side too. So this was my daily rant attack about astrology and the shit that I have just been bottling up for a while, that I wanted to get out, and I hope you had a laugh with my seriousness, although there is a message behind it. Thank you very much. Goodbye.